uh, the TV really makes my hair and my skin look like a caramel. So I'm just like, whew, my skin looks really, really tan. Wow. I was just looking through some pages, and it's weird because if I read a sentence, it kind of brings back when I actually wrote it. So that's pretty cool. I'm looking at pages that I'm really, really excited to start reading. So I actually today I have been doing I wrote a lot of poetry today. So I went to the laundromat because I was gone all week, and then I came back and I looked into my closet and I saw a hamper full of clothes. I was gonna actually do them before I left, but then I was like, okay, I think I'm going to do it when I get back from pet sitting. So that's what I did. And when I was at the laundromat, I wrote 5 poems for the 4 new poetry books that I am working on. And they're actually like really good. So, I mean, me personally. And yeah, I did that. And then I was going to start working on my book, and then I actually lost track of time and realized, oh, I'm supposed to do this live. See, since I've been gone for a week, I haven't really been doing a whole lot of what I actually do. I mean, I did do the last 4 chapters of The Wish when I was pet sitting, so I'm trying to get my schedule back in place. So the last chapter yesterday was chapter 1 that I read. Was 4 teenagers, Keegan, Terrence, Horace, and Neve. They were in the woods smoking and drinking, and Keegan was driving, and they show up in the middle of the woods, and they end up going to a house that Keegan had discovered on the internet, and so they get to the house, and I think he sees it and he just stops there. So I can actually read the last paragraph from chapter 1, and then I can start reading chapter 2. So this is the last chapter of chapter 1, or the last paragraph of chapter 1. Keegan couldn't believe it was still here. After what happened with that young girl and the woman, he was sure the house would be knocked down at some point. Okay, so that's the end of that chapter. So then, this is chapter 2, and it's the August 2nd. That's how I'm going to know now what chapter I'm going to be reading. Okay. Chapter 2. Right, Batman? Okay. Chapter 2. The cracked windows and broken frames were a sign of time and location. Keegan pointed the flashlight towards the worn-out steps. That's the house where the witch lived. Oh, whatever, man, Neve said, brushing it off with the gesture of a hand. Witches don't live in Traverse City. They aren't even real. Who told you that anyway? The fairest of them all? Horace nudged at Neve. Maybe Little Red Riding Hood. Or maybe Sleeping Beauty, Neve added. Terrence stepped in and said, or maybe it was. He stood there like a deer in headlights, then belched, and dropped to his side, bringing both arms out. Horace and Neve stepped back. Neve plugged his nose and said, "That's disgusting." Horace held a hand over his mouth. "Gross, Taro." Terror, Keegan helped him up again. "Open your eyes." "The zombie is out tonight," Horace said. "If you're going to joke about this, you can babysit him," Keegan said. Horace shook his head. "No, I'm not." "Then stop it." As I was saying, a witch used to live here. The exciting idea of the house and what he read on the internet engulfed Keegan with curiosity. He'd never seen inside or near it before. He wanted to go in, to see, to wander off into the unknown. The stairs creaked under his shoes. "Wait, what are you doing?" Neve asked, as the other two just stood there in silence. Terrence finally was coming around. "I'm going in." "Either am I, Keeg." Terrence stepped back and shook his head. "It's cursed, man." Keegan pointed a flashlight towards him. "I thought you said you didn't believe in this stuff." "I don't." "Then why did you say it's cursed?" Terrence stood there as the others waited for an answer. He shrugged. "We better go in and see if it's still cursed, then." Keegan stepped towards the door and stopped. "I hope we don't find hooded people in there dancing around a fire," Horace said. "Or the big bad wolf hiding in the bed," Neve added. Keegan noticed the door wasn't completely closed, and without thinking something bad could happen, he kicked it open. Dust floated up into the breeze. Darkness flooded the entrance. Keegan stood in the doorway, gawking in like a little kid on Halloween night. Being the bravest one out of the four, he stepped in first. Wow, a witch's house. He observed the small open space, caked with dust and cobwebs. Cobwebs had Keegan thinking it had been a while since someone stepped foot in here. The kitchen, off to his left, had no door. Pots and pans hanging from a nail on the wall were matted with white spider webs. A gush of wind blew into the house, pushing leaves past Keegan's feet. It caught his attention, and a cold chill crept up both his arms. Goosebumps rose along his arms. He turned around and looked at his friends. They just stood there staring at him. To the right, another room had a big red ribbed curtain in the doorway. Their flashlights were their only guide through the strange atmosphere. I can't say it. Keegan walked over and felt the red fabric, thick and heavy. It reminded him of the cloth in his dad's casket. He pulled it back and stepped through. His flashlight caught a glimpse of something on the floor. He took a second look. A pentagram with candles placed at the tips of the odd symbol marked the middle of the room. The red candle in the center was the most eye-catching one. It had a black pentagram on the front of it. In his research, he had discovered that the Jews used the star for protection. He stepped closer with curiosity. Whoa, a pentagram! I should have brought my Ouija board. In the middle of it were red dried stains. Could those be from a sacrifice, or did an animal get in here and die, leaking blood from an attack? The door was open, he recalled. He stared at the pentagram. Would it still work? Glass vials with different colors lined up in a row on an old wooden shelf. He pointed the light towards the ledge and stepped over. Dang, those look cool. I wonder what's inside. The clear ones were easy to see through. Where are the fingers and eyeballs? That's a bummer. He turned back to the ones that were hard to see inside. Maybe they were in these. He picked one up and shook it enough to hear if something were inside. Liquid splashed around. He set the flashlight on the shelf and held the bottle in the path of the light. He popped the cap off and smelled it. No smell. A little taste wouldn't hurt. What harm could it do? Before taking a sip, he heard a church under his shoe. A crunch under his shoe. Did I just say church? He heard a church under his shoe. Oh, lordy. He pointed the flashlight towards the floor and saw rock-sized chunks of blue and green crystals. He set the vial back on the shelf and knelt. He picked a few up and rubbed them between his fingers. It felt like gravel. He thought to himself what these were and how long they have been here. He stopped and stared at the candles, at the tail ends of the large pentagram. He wondered what would happen if he lit them. He remembered reading the article. The young girl had made some kind of wish and a loved one came back. Could it be true? Could it all be true? What would happen if he lit these candles? Would his dad come back? He raised his head. He wanted that more than anything in the world. To see his dad again, if only for a few minutes. Just one last talk with him. He squeezed both eyes shut. After his dad's death, he always wanted to contact him through a EVP or his Ouija board. He was never effective. He never knew why his dad wouldn't come through. Keegan moved closer, but then stopped. He reached into his pocket for a Zippo lighter. I have no clue what a Zippo lighter is. My editor gave me that. Past the pentagram, he saw an outline of a person standing across the room. He blinked and widened his eyes. The outline became more visible. Now he could see who it was. Dad? His father lifted his hand, as he had always done if he was about to do something stupid, like playing with fire, or being mean to Madison. No, son, don't do it. Then he disappeared. Keegan stood there speechless and had tears in his eyes. He saw his dad. It was him. But why did he yell, no, Keegan? He looked around upon hearing the voice. Nothing's going to happen. The witch was probably long gone. So, what was there to worry about? In a way, he felt like this all was fate, like it had all been set up for him. My nose itches so bad. Like everything had directed him to come here in the first place, to be able to see his dad again. Kneeling down, he began lighting each candle. He moved around the circle and lit them all. The air in the room became sub-zero. His own breath puffed out. His chest grew tight, and the beating thudded faster. A creak in the floorboards crept closer. A hand gripped his shoulder, bringing him down to the floor. Blood pumped through his veins and his face flushed. He fell to the floor and turned around, expecting to see one of the guys pulling a prank on him, like they always did. When he realized it wasn't... Wait, hold on. Sorry. When he realized it was only him in the room, the thundering in his chest caused him to whimper. He stood to his feet and waited to see if one of them would jump out and scare him. A dark black misty figure shot across the lane of light. Rapid breathing dried his throat. The room grew cold, as if he was standing outside in the snow barefoot. He reached a shaky hand over to the flashlight. Once his fingers touched the handle, it rolled over the edge and dropped to the hardwood floor. A moment of silence and fear had him paralyzed. It tumbled past the candles and spun like a bottle and came to a stop. He ran to it and grabbed it. What's happening? What's going on? Looking around to see who or what grabbed his shoulder, nobody was in sight. Hello? Is somebody there? A brush of hot breath traced by his ear. Keegan, a female voice whispered. He screamed and yanked the curtains out of the way. Neve and Horace ran from the kitchen and came to a stop. What's going on? Neve asked. Didn't you hear her? Hear who? What happened to you? Horace asked. Yeah, you look like you just saw a ghost or something, Neve said. The female voice still remained on his mind. He knew it wasn't the guys. Terrence ran up the basement stairs at full speed and stopped. What's wrong with you? Horace asked. His face grew ashen and his hands trembled. Where are you going, Terrence? Neve asked. Terrence ran straight for the front door. It slammed shut, forcing him to fall to the hard wooden floor. He scrambled to his feet and pulled on the door latch, but it wouldn't budge. Terror, what is wrong? Keegan asked. The room grew deadly quiet, no sound of the wind or the birds. An eerie feeling settled in the pit of Keegan's stomach. Each second traced by like waiting for a ticking bomb to go off. The glass in the flashlights exploded one by one. Keegan screamed as it loosened from his hand and fell to the floor. What's going on? Terrence banged on the door with his two fists. Let me out. Oh, child, an eerie voice muttered. The boys stood still, as if they all heard it at once. The hairs on Keegan's neck, on his neck and arms stood. You have awakened me, child, the voice cackled and echoed the room. The massive red curtains flapped violently, as if a hurricane came in and swiped by them. That's impossible. It can't do that, Terrence yelled. The windows in the house shattered one by one. Keegan knelt down and covered his face. He got a glimpse of the others doing the same thing. Keegan looked up, and for a brief second, flying black creatures with bright red glowing eyes and thin bony bodies darted around the high ceiling. Torn wings and long sharp claws gave Keegan an eerie feeling. Their wicked, blood-stained sharp teeth could tear their flesh. There wasn't just one or two of these creatures. There had to be at least 3 or 4. Keegan couldn't keep track as they moved so fast. They flew by the ceiling, then dove down over the boys. Keegan felt the breeze over his sweaty neck and screamed. Terrence ran to the window and jumped out. Little bits of glass in the frame had been knocked out by his foot and shattered to the floor. Keegan and the others trailed behind him. Keegan ran for the car and got in, with hands shaking so bad the key wouldn't go in the hole. Hurry up, Neve screamed. I am, Keegan yelled back. He pushed the key in and sped down the road. He kept looking at the rear view mirror as he felt an unseen force rush behind them. Again, he stood. He took a second glance in the rearview mirror and saw the black flying creatures lift its legs out towards the car. Keegan's eyes widened. Oh, God. He slammed on the brakes, gripping the steering wheel, and squeezed his eyes shut, bracing himself. When he opened his eyes, the claws of this thing landed on top of the car as all the boys screamed. Ducking. Ducking down in the seat, almost sliding to the floorboards, covering their heads. Their high-pitched shrieks were like speakers at a concert. It grew louder and sharper. Keegan's earbuds. Keegan's eardrums were about to blow out. Claws pierced through the metal. The roof caved in, causing them to lower down in the seats even further. In those passing seconds, Keegan heard a deep, heavy growl that only evil would make. He looked up and saw a little black eyeball with red in it looking down at him, as if this thing had found its target. Pressing his foot on the pedal, he sped down the road, back onto the highway. He peered into the rearview mirror and saw the black-eyed winged thing roll across the gravel. To be continued. Wow, that is like a horror movie right there. I don't know, so the creatures that... Here, let me see. Okay. So the creatures that they just encountered, I'm pretty sure I probably got that off of the internet. Like, they have this website where you can go and, what is it called? I can't remember what it's called, but you can go to this website and you can type in, like, what type of creatures you want to use. So I was like, okay, I don't want these things to look like bats or... I don't know. I just wanted them to be different. So I have them be something that would come from a nightmare. So I didn't, like with this book, I didn't want Keegan to see like the whole thing just yet. So when he looked in the rearview mirror and he saw it like rolling across the road, that's when he sort of got an idea of what it could be. So this chapter, I thought it was a lot of fun to write because I did a lot of description of what the house looked like cobwebs and dust, and then Keegan goes into this room and there's like a pentagram in the middle of the room. And he's like, oh, I should have brought my Ouija board. And even though this is like a scary spot, like a scary scene, he did, I wanted him to like think of his dad. Sometimes when I'm out in the middle of the woods, I do think of my dad a lot. I never been in, well, actually I take that back. I did go out to a cemetery years ago with a good friend of mine. And we went to a cemetery and at pitch darkness, and I was taking pictures, and shockingly I did not get very many orbs, but my friend took a picture of me and there was an orb that went like right across my hip. And so I guess like when I had done that, I was trying to take my experience from what I went through and put it in the chapter. But of course, like, no flying creature attacked us or anything like that. And I wanted to use... That's another thing that I really like about writing my chapters, is that I like to take things from my life that happened to me and put them in stories. And that's what Stephen King said in an interview. Like, everything that you read in his book is like something from his life. Like Pet Sematary, he actually did live in a house out in the country by a highway, and I guess his daughter's cat got ran over, and there was like a actual pet cemetery like out by that house, and they buried the cat. And so he's like, oh, this would be a good idea. So when I was thinking of this chapter to write, and so obviously you guys do know that he did reawaken a woman, which I don't really want to say because it'll give it away. So let me look. Chapter 2. So tomorrow is chapter 3, August 3rd. Okay, so the next chapter, chapter 3, I am introducing a new character, which I had so much fun with her. Oh my gosh, I just got really into who she is and how she is as a person and stuff like that. And I'm just like really excited to read that chapter, because that's what I love about writing books also, is because I like to introduce new characters. I don't think I could write a book with just one point of view, because to me that would be boring. So, but it's weird because sometimes when I read books and there's different point of views, I don't like it. But when I'm writing when I'm writing my own books, it's not confusing to me. But I try to read books that don't have too many like point of views in it. It's not that it'll mess me up. I don't know. But so that was chapter 2, and I hope you guys really enjoyed that. So I'm looking through the pages and I'm catching things that I had a lot of fun writing. And I had a lot of fun to write. And some chapters are actually really short. So I think what I'll probably do, like I did with The Wish, I will take, like, okay, so for instance, chapter 24 is from Inga's point of view, and that is very, very, very short. It's like a half a page. So I'll probably read that chapter and read 24 and 25 together, probably. Maybe, yeah. But some of these chapters are really long, so that's why I only want to do one chapter at a time. But like I said, if they're short, I'll just go ahead and read it with another chapter. So, I don't know why I keep yawning. I'm not even tired. But okay, so anyways, I had a lot of fun writing that chapter, and I hope you guys enjoyed this chapter. So I am really excited to read the next chapter, which, like I said, I'm really excited. You'll be meeting a new character. And so this is, if you haven't seen this book, this is the cover, and then this is just the back of it. So this is the bio of the book that I did read. Before I read chapter 1, I read the blurb to let you know what the book is about. And then this is my about me. I just talk about me and for more information. So I had a lot of fun reading this. And I just keep saying that because I did. And I had so much fun writing this book. And it feels so good to get back into these characters. Because after I finished the book, it was kind of like, after I finished the series, it was like a goodbye. Not forever, but I hope at some point I can do like a standalone books, like for Gina, Keegan, and Terrence, which I did mention that, I think probably during chapter 1. So, so you can go ahead and comment down, tell me what you thought, what you liked, and I will see you guys tomorrow, August 3rd. I'll be reading chapter 3, probably at 6:45, because I'm doing farmer's market tomorrow, and I'm doing my coffee chat tomorrow morning. So I don't know what I'll talk about. I'll probably just talk about, I need to do like a pick a subject. I need a jar. Maybe that's what I should do. I should get a jar and just write random things down to talk about, fold it up, put it in the jar. And then maybe I should do that. You know, get like a jar and put on the front, like, but first coffee. And do like a coffee cup maybe. Or do an actual coffee cup. Because I was thinking about my coffee chats every Tuesday morning at 9. And I don't want to talk about the same things. Like, I feel like I'm talking about last week every time I do a coffee chat. So I think that is actually a good idea. I am going to Walmart tomorrow. So maybe I should get like a mason jar or I don't know, just something. And then I can write random things down or print it off and then just stick it in the jar and then just pull it out and then read what it is. That's actually a good idea because it's not that I'm getting bored of doing... Hi, Batman. I'm not getting bored of doing my coffee chats. I just don't want to be doing the same thing over and over and over because it'll be boring. So anyways, I really would love to do an actual live Q&A. Like, you guys send me questions and then I will answer them. I would really love to do that. So, but anyways, thank you all so much for... Hi, Batman. Are you gonna come here? Everybody wants to see you. Everybody wants to see my baby boy. Hi. Oh, I know. Say bye. Bye. Say bye. Aww. What do you think? He's so handsome. He has a white little patch right there. It's so cute. You got yourself a little patchy patch. Okay, so I guess I'll let you guys go. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. And God bless. And I will see you guys tomorrow at 6:45. Chapter 3. It's August 3rd. So, have a good day. Bye. Batman. Batman? Hi.